What's going on, Purple People podcast fans? Welcome to this week's episode. I think it's Tuesday. Yeah, it's Tuesday, October 26th, 2021. This is episode 452, Dak to the Future. We're going to talk about the Cowboys game on Halloween, first primetime game of the year. We'll talk about some acquisitions, or not acquisitions. We'll talk about a trade that happened. I'm here, as always, with Kyle West. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. I'm a big fan of the show title. Back to the Future is one of my favorite movies of all time. So, good job.
Yeah, Dak's playing pretty well.
Primetime Kirk Cousins showing up on Halloween for us Vikings fans.
Last day of Kirktober, baby.
Don't like it. Don't like the Kirktober.
if you wanted to get on Adam Carlson's nerves, we could do this right here. And we could add him in, and we'll put him in the top right. He doesn't like that.
I don't like that. That's not where I'm used to be.
But when we put him here at the bottom, this is where he likes it. He likes.
You could do that. We got that awful screen option where it's like all three of us side by side.
Yeah. Hold on, let me.
Oh, yeah, that one's the worst.
That's terrible.
I hate
because
that.
you guys are at least backed up enough to where it looks like you're sitting there. It zooms right in on my face.
You have a background. You have a background in this layout. Here, it's like I can see what you ate for lunch.
You can. This little white streak in my beard just looks terrible. But I do have to call you out a little bit because you said, "as always" or something like that, as to you always being on the show, and I gotta miss some here and there.
No, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Gotta keep you in line.
I like it when we're all three together. We should do that more often. We should make this like a show or something.
We should start a podcast.
Yeah, we should do this like regularly. Had to give a shout out to start before we got going. Doogie said Skull. What's up, Doogie? First one in. Got here early. Get extra credit for that. We appreciate it. Yeah, I was looking for CeeDee Lamb after that crazy walk-off. Who was it against? Was it the Pats?
Don't wave. It's a fine. Don't wave in the NFL.
I'm trying to think of who it was. The walk-off. Was it? I think it was them, the Patriots.
It was KJ Osborne.
Oh man, I'm still on a high from that game. That was so fun being there. Yeah, I wanted to give a shout out to CeeDee Lamb. He's balling out too, but Dak is he's in the MVP conversation again. This is not a fluke. This Cowboys team is for real, which is sad because Cowboys fans are the worst. But when you're playing good, you get to talk a little smack.
Yeah,
a fluke is the most common fish in the ocean. Odds are, if you go fishing for one, you'll catch one.
I did not know that. Thank you for that, Adam.
That's what we keep you here for, Adam.
That's what Kevin Malone taught me.
You're the only... Oh, office humor. There you go.
Always. But yeah, NFC North is a kind of hurting place right now. Packers hurting all over the place, and Bears kind of struggling in a lot of places, and the Lions doing lion things. I mean,
poor Lions. I mean, I feel so terrible for them.
Yeah.
And they got the shit into that trade too, because we all now see how bad Goff really was or was holding them back. I was listening.
It was clear before. Today. I mean, I don't know what was before that had people. Was it the offensive line and weapons that the Rams had that kind of made Goff look a little bit better than he was? Was the coaching? Because honestly, I don't think Detroit's coaching is that terrible. I do think they have a severe lack of talent on their roster.
Clearly.
I think that this coach is epic for getting these guys to play because they've been in pretty much every game minus one. They've been playing their guts out. But yeah, I was listening to Chris Sims today talking, and he said it out loud, and I was very surprised. So I'm quoting this, but this is just why you don't hear stuff like this. Kind of like the interviews with quarterbacks like Russell Wilson. It's automated robot talk. This was actually laid back, and he said, "Hey, I have friends who are very high up executives, GMs, coaches, whatever, and when they look at Jared Goff on film compared to Matt Stafford, and they knew he was going to be available, like, man, this guy kind of sucks." I couldn't believe that he said that, and he said, "I'm not saying that to take a shot at him. I am directly quoting people that I have to keep anonymous." And
I will say this:
hear that,
Jared Goff. I think I'd rather have him than either of the people that played on Monday Night Football.
Yeah. See, that's the quarterback conundrum in the NFL. Like, what do you do?
Because that
Not enough to
was
go around.
such a hard game to watch.
Yeah, that was tough. I woke up very randomly in the middle of the night and wanted to check that score, and I was like, oh, what a snooze fest that game must have been.
Well, I told you guys the least interesting trade in the history of the NFL, Joe Flacco going from the
All right.
Eagles back to
I
the
actually take a
Jets.
little bit of offense to that because
Why? Are you
Joe
Joe Flacco?
was a Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah.
Well,
And yet
that's been a
people
while ago.
run to defend Matt Ryan, who has an MVP. Like he is going to bounce back and automatically become Brett Favre in a week or two. And I don't get it. I
he's
don't
not
see why
either.
those two get the same sort of slack.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, Matt Ryan is bad now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has 3 of the best receivers in the NFL, including a tight end that is basically a receiver.
He's a big old receiver. Mm-hmm.
Now, the Vikings, Kirk Cousins, I mean, for a while, we didn't even know if we'd have a clear-cut wide receiver 3. Tight end, gone for the season. Mm-hmm. I mean, what he's doing with what he's got is pretty awesome. Sure, Justin Jefferson's great, and Adam Thielen is usually old reliable, aside from a couple times this season so far, but it's just crazy what the difference weapons can make and how they can expose a quarterback as being a good quarterback or a bad quarterback.
We get frustrated
dare we
with
say, Adam, dare we say Kirk Cousins is elevating guys like Tyler Conklin and KJ Osborne? Dare we say it? I think
we
Kirk
get frustrated
does a good job.
with Kirk, but we could have a lot worse options.
Yes, and that's that right there. What you just said. When Kirk leaves, if it's not an immediate shot to the moon with an Aaron Rodgers type, Patrick Mahomes type, whatever, people are gonna be like, "Oh shit, I kind of miss that guy."
But people say that like he's like Kirk Cousins is Andy Dalton.
No, he's better
like
than him.
Just good enough to keep his job for a long time, and not bad enough to cut or move on from. And Kirk Cousins isn't that. He's a really good quarterback.
You made a good point about Andy Dalton the other day in our chat, Adam, where you were like, so many of these young quarterbacks are just an immediate bust.
They are.
But even having an Andy Dalton where you're like, yeah, you're serviceable. You can win some games, but maybe you're not elite. But like having that stretch is even a rare thing to come by, let alone finding the next Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers.
But if you're drafting a quarterback, I would rather draft an absolute bust that I learned right away than have a below average quarterback that I stuck with forever. I mean, finding that future quarterback, if you stay with a quarterback like that for too long, you're not doing your team any justice.
No, guys, guys are going to want out. They're going to want to force trades. Then the culture's bad, and then rumors start, and then people are going to start wanting to avoid you. So, yeah, I know. And think about this, too, to your point, Adam, with how fast and dramatically guys are busts. How rare it is to find a guy who can stay in the league who's not a superstar, but like a Ryan Fitzpatrick, who can just find his way on a roster. You don't even have those.
And I wasn't expecting Ryan Tannehill to be as good as he was, and as good as he is doing right now in Tennessee.
Correct.
I slept on him, and I'll admit that right away.
Yeah, I don't think anybody was calling for a renaissance of his career, but they're killing it right now. They shellacked the Chiefs this weekend, in case you guys didn't see that. That was embarrassing. Yeah. That was very embarrassing, but yeah, I guess we should talk about
we talked about trades a little bit, yeah. So go ahead with that.
The shorthanded Denver Broncos, I'm reading from ESPN. Jeff Legwold, I'm giving you your credit because I don't want you knocking on my door. Shorthanded Denver Broncos send a draft choice to Minnesota Vikings for Stephen Weatherly. Now, we know him as defensive end, but they have him listed as depth for linebacker here. Potato, I say.
But, edge rusher is why they designate that. It's because of the different defensive schemes.
Mm-hmm.
The Broncos sent a 7th-round pick in 2022 to Minnesota. Minnesota sends Stephen Weatherly and a 7th-round pick in 2023. So a swap of picks and a player. Why this happened, might you ask? Well, George Patton is there. So former
Denver
Vikings
also eats $1.5 million, I believe, I think it's $1.5 million, maybe $2.5 million. I'm not sure which one it is.
We can go on Spot Track and find that. See what the Vikings
But
are
yeah,
doing
Denver
right now.
definitely eats part of that money for Weatherly. But what's interesting is that I'm going to toot my own horn for a second because I like to do that.
Go for it.
I put out
You
an
deserve
article
it
over
for
the
this one.
Viking Age about 3 Vikings players
Here we
who might be traded before the trade deadline. And I definitely got some feedback on that, saying that I picked players that were untradeable, or that it was clickbait because none of those players are going to get traded anyway. Well, guess what? Stephen Weatherly was on that list.
Good job,
People
Adam.
underestimate the value that a veteran pass rusher can get, even if he doesn't have massive numbers coming up. And Minnesota had no need for him to stick around. He's entered the season with double-digit snap counts on offense, on defense as a pass rusher, and towards the end, he was only getting single-digit tries. I believe the last 4 weeks of the Viking season so far. And honestly, Minnesota can get that kind of production since he had no sacks on the year from a young player and get them some experience in the meantime. The emergence of Everson Griffin really made him expendable in Minnesota.
Yeah, that was the point that I was going to make, is that Everson playing as well as he had has just gave us an abundance of talent at the defensive end position, which we already had coming into this season. That was already a strength with Daniil Hunter coming back. The young kid who's going to be getting snaps now, Patrick
Jones
his name?
the second.
Patrick Jones the second. Thank you. So yeah, he should be the young guy that, like you said, that they can step up and kind of fill in that role a little bit and get him some game experience.
Media asked Mike Zimmer about that, and he wouldn't commit to saying that he was going to give him a bigger role. But I think we all know that he's going to be the one that probably slides in, him or maybe, oh God, as soon as I start, no, the defensive tackle they brought over from Cleveland that had been in Minnesota,
Sheldon Richardson.
Yeah, we might see him play a little bit more end.
Very nice. Just to piggyback on what you guys are saying, the Vikings had a little over 3 million ish. Now they have just over 5 million in cap space. Are they going to go out and make a trade? We don't know. The trade deadline is coming up soon. I don't think
Vikings fans on Twitter were just annoying with that when this transaction came out. They're saving up to go get something big. It's not, they just did something to improve their roster or get a draft pick a year earlier or something like that. It can't be something that simple. No, there's got to be a big master plan behind it all.
You could roll the money to next year. You could use it to pay someone else and move some money.
The Vikings have a lot of guys on 1-year deals.
Why not?
I don't think they're going to make cap space and not need it.
It's true.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. You could roll it to next year. As Adam was saying, you have guys on 1-year deals. Maybe some of them, like Xavier Woods. I don't know if Patrick Peterson's on a 1-year, but do that. Get him. Mackenzie Alexander, you could get him back. Who knows? But you could always just sit and save it. I mean, it's funny. That's a good example. Twitter is of American society. It's like, well, we have money. I want you to save it. Like, no, we need to go spend it now. You could just save it. That'd be cool. But yeah, the Broncos GM George Patton, former Viking assistant GM, I think.
Yeah,
that was the title. They're familiar with each other, much like the guys in Cincinnati are still friends with Mike Zimmer, can do some wheeling deals here and there. Send him there. We don't know if the Vikings are going to go after everyone in free agency. Don't really know, but I guess my gut feeling is they're probably not. I think they're set and they want to stick with the guys they have.
Well, I think most Vikings fans right now, as far as their roster goes, are only concerned about cornerback and maybe a few about linebacker.
Yep.
Because there's still a lot of people out there that don't believe in Anthony Barr. And although he hasn't been playing his best football this year, I think he's been serviceable enough to where they don't really have to worry too much. But in the secondary, that injury to Patrick Peterson,
that sucks.
Yeah, that is something that people are concerned about. Cameron Dantzler going to be the one that likely comes in, takes his place in the lineup, and has to play. But Minnesota also has Chris Boyd. They just elevated Harrison Hand back from COVID list. And of course, Mackenzie Alexander has been hanging out in the slot doing his thing. So it's not like Minnesota has nothing at cornerback. They have some talented players or maybe some young players with potential. If Chris Boyd has to come in and play some snaps on the outside, I'm okay with that. I've seen him make some plays, and sure, he's going to make some mistakes. Cornerback's tough to play in the NFL. So, yeah, I mean, trading for a player, bringing him in, trying to get him to learn the defensive playbook, having him scheme everything and be ready for a football game on Sunday night, I don't know if that's as good as having a player who knows what they're doing and might not be as supremely talented. So yeah, I'll take the guys that know what's up in the locker room rather than bring in a guy to just kind of throw around and hope that he can figure things out or have to change the game plan a little bit for him so that he's all man or all zone or whatever the plan is. I don't know, but I don't like the idea of trading for a corner, especially with all the people that are on 1-year deals. And a lot of the players that have been called out are going to be a little bit pricier to bring in as free agents or will cost quite a bit in trade capital. And draft picks right now are at a little bit of a premium for Minnesota because they are going to have to probably replace quite a few people that they aren't going to be able to afford to bring back. So we'll see how all that works out.
To your point, and for Vikings Twitter out there, for all the armchair GMs and coaches, yes, Patrick Peterson is the best cornerback on this team, hands down. Mm-hmm. Does that mean that Bashad Breeland and Cameron Dantzler are corners up the street from 7-Eleven in Mankato? No. They're
Breeland is playing extremely well.
Breeland has turned it around tremendously in the last couple games, which is very nice to see. Cameron Dantzler, also very serviceable. Still only in his second year, up and down. He's pretty inconsistent. But here's the thing. You got to look at, and I'm just going to try to flex the very minimal, like little hair on my chin knowledge that I have about football. We're not putting guys out there on islands for the most part. They have help of some sort. We have 2 very, very good safeties. So you can shift your game plan and your coverage to help these guys. If you know, and I think I speak for all of us here to say, cornerback now, especially with Peterson being gone, is a weak spot on the defense. I'm not saying that they're terrible. I'm not saying it's the worst in the league, but this now is a weak spot because you're using depth. But you can game plan around that. And if anybody can do that, Mike Zimmer can do that. That's his bread and butter, and I trust him. Does it suck because it came at the Baltimore, Dallas, Chargers, Green Bay time frame of the season? Yeah, it sucks. That's typical Vikings luck. But I've
also seen concern about the Michael Pierce injury, about when he will return. And as I've said last week and the week before, and pretty much ever since Michael Pierce got injured, I firmly believe that Armon Watts can step in and play at a high level when asked. He has proven that he can be a good backup. Mike Zimmer has come out and said, we are not shifting Tomlinson over as long as we have Watts because he is the backup and he can go in there and get the job done. And when you see he has that kind of confidence in a player, and when Watts passes the eye test, and he's a smart player, he can get his hands up and get them in passing lanes. He's not as good at rushing the quarterback, I guess, as Pierce has been, but he can eat up space. And right now, Minnesota needs to focus on taking away that run game because otherwise, Dallas might be a lot tougher than just the Dak arm cannon can offer.
Right now, the Cowboys 5-1, Vikings 3-3. This is a Sunday night game. The Dallas is a -2.5 point favorite, which I thought would be a little bit bigger. It might change as we get closer, but trying to look it up now. I was going to go over the week that passed because this week was pretty awful as far as games. They were pretty terrible games.
The game was actually a coin flip, I believe, until I think the injury to Patrick Peterson shifted it to a 2.5 point favorite for Dallas, which that's a big shift.
And we have to note, too, talking about this game and previewing it, that this is somebody who's very familiar with the Vikings. Mike McCarthy, being in Green Bay forever, knows because Mike Zimmer got here, 2014?
Sounds right.
Mike McCarthy, he's only been the coach there for 2 years. He knows Mike Zimmer and this team pretty well, having to play them twice a year. Now, this is different personnel, different scheme, all that fun stuff, but that's an interesting nugget. What I like about this game is it's in Minnesota. These fans are going to be absolutely nuts, and it's good competition. And as we've seen up until this point, knock on wood, the Vikings play up to their competition. So I'm interested to see the game plan.
Sometimes.
What's that?
Yeah, they play
sometimes
up
they play down to their competition.
Oh yeah. Well, this isn't a down opponent, so I'm not looking for them to kind of shit the bed and roll around it. I look for this to be another Arizona Cardinals type game where there's going to be a lot of high flying action and there's going to be a lot of plays and both sides of the ball. I hope that they come out with a win because I think they can beat this team. But the thing that scares me as we talk about this game is that offense for Dallas has weapons everywhere. They're going to be tough to slow down. So I'll be interested to see how the defense can hold up against that offense.
The Vikings defense has been better than they've been getting credit for too. They've been holding opposing teams out of the end zone. There have been instances where special teams will give up a touchdown, or there'll be a turnover in Vikings territory and they end up giving up a field goal or a short touchdown. And a lot of that makes it extremely tough on the defense. What I'm curious to see is how Minnesota will come out with this offense. If they're going to let the ball fly, if they're going to try to grind it out
They
again.
have to.
It's Mike Zimmer's offense. And I know that they're going to want to run the football. Dalvin Cook, though, he can get yards for you even if you don't hand him the ball. He's got to be involved in more screens.
Yeah.
And you got to kind of rely on him a little bit on those play actions to get a good block if there's a blitzer. It's going to be tough. It's going to be one heck of a game for Minnesota. This is going to be a real challenge. But I think Minnesota is up to it, and I'm excited to see if they can pull off a win.
This is a game where I think home field advantage is going to be really imperative for the Vikings. That can help them get a win if it can be a loud, difficult environment for the Cowboys to operate in. And our defense is going to have to get pressure on them, generate some sacks. Like you said, a little banged up in the secondary, but you got to give those guys an opportunity to go out there and prove themselves, some of the younger guys. But it's going to have to be up front. We're going to need a big game, I think, from Daniil Hunter for the Vikings to have a shot in this one. It's really going to be him and Everson are going to have to set the tone defensively for this team.
I think they can do it too. A lot of what's happening now, let's talk about the Chiefs for a little bit.
Everson Griffin revenge game.
Yeah, exactly. I think for a lot of what's happening with the NFL
Xavier
now,
Woods revenge game.
Yeah, that too.
I forgot he played for them. Yeah, like for the Chiefs, for example, what I was going to talk about is you generate pressure with 4 and that leaves 7 in coverage. And if you can just generate pressures, you don't have to get the sacks, even though the Vikings lead the league in sacks right now. That does a world of difference because I don't think you blitz the shit out of Dak Prescott. He'll get the ball out quick. And, you know, I don't want to leave those receivers one-on-one with Eric Hendricks or an older, slower Anthony Barr. Then that's going to be a game where Harrison Smith's your leading tackler again, and you're like, son of a bitch, you know. It's going to be interesting. Those fans, like you mentioned, that place is going to be incredible. And I wish that I could be there for it. I wish all of us could be there for it. But
yeah,
I like the Vikings at home. I like them a lot, and I'm going to hope that they go for an upset here because this is don't get it twisted. This is a good Dallas team.
I'm going in this game, and I'm expecting Dallas to get the win. I am expecting that. But that said, Minnesota does have the potential to pull off this upset. And the fact that they are at home is a major factor for that. I love how rowdy and loud that Minnesota crowd can be. And if they can pull even maybe 1 or 2, maybe even 3 false starts or something like that or delay a game, it could be a massive, massive thing for this team.
Great reference, Thomas. I was just going to say, too, you read my mind, Thomas. If you guys are watching, I see 5 or 6 people in there. Comment, man. Talk to us. Let's talk about what's on your mind. It could be about anything Viking related. If you talk about your personal problems, I'm going to charge you Venmo because we're not doing therapy hour yet. But shifting off of this game just a little bit, we can still go back to it. But I want to talk about the playoff picture because right now, if you would have told me before the season that the Cincinnati Bengals would have been in first place in the AFC going into week 8 or week 7? Yeah, I would have called you a liar. Not surprised by the Cardinals being number 1 in the NFC. I am surprised that they're undefeated still, but the Kansas City Chiefs nowhere to be found, and they're well down below the hunt.
Yeah, 3-4 now, right?
They're pretty bad. As it stands right now, the Vikings hold that 7th and last spot in the playoffs. They would be visiting the reigning Super Bowl champion Buccaneers, and Kyle West and I both said I'm not going to watch that game because that would be awful.
I don't want.
You know what? I'll still watch that. I'd love to see Minnesota upset Tom.
I'm lying. Of course, I would watch it, but I wouldn't be happy. I wouldn't be very happy doing it. But you know, if they got in, which is this is why I brought this up. I really want to talk about it. So they're going to play the Packers twice. They're going to play the Cowboys and the Rams, who are all above them right now. The Packers are the 3 seed, Cowboys are 4th, and the Rams are 5th. They're going to have 4 games between those 3 teams. The Vikings are going to win at least one of those games. If they can split, go 2-2 with those 3 teams, be very happy. Here's the good part about it. The teams underneath them that they still get to play, the 49ers, the Bears twice, and the Lions again. The Vikings have a legitimate shot, even after a rocky start, to make the playoffs this year. They just have to win a couple of games that they don't need. They weren't supposed to win, or we weren't favored to win, but they figure it out, and then they're in the thick of things. So
they got to win the home games. They got to win those division games, and those conference games for the tiebreaker are going to be as important as ever with the 17-game season.
These Mike Zimmer Vikings teams are like, you think you have a heart attack? No, it's just indigestion. I shouldn't have had that spicy food last night. That's what they do to you. Like that's somehow funny. They pulled themselves back up to be in it again.
Kathy, what's up? Skull.
Right it's been a while, Kathy. Nice to have you in here.
Thanks for joining us.
Hey, welcome back.
Yeah, Thomas, you're right. They did play Dallas on Halloween a couple years ago. I still want to say like 2 or 3 years ago. It was whatever, because we played them last year and Andy Dalton beat us, which was annoying. But I think this is the game that Dak played. Eric Kendricks had that sweet pass breakup, and then he did the surfboard thing. I remember that. That was really cool. That was pretty sweet. That was a good game, too. Look at the losses. Number 1 and the 7 seed Browns. Not bad. Yeah, they've lost to quality teams. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
This team has been in the thick of things. I think it's just if this team had figured out was it 3-3? I won't even say 5-1. If this team was 4-2 right now, I think the energy would be a lot better. Especially if they had won that Cardinals game, I think the attitude would be a little bit different. You say, hey,
I still don't understand what happened to the offense once the defense started clicking.
Yeah, that was really wild.
If they can get those two things on the same page, and honestly, I am really excited to see Kenny Nwangu on the kickoff returns, because this boy is electric. He's fast.
Ready to see that speed. Mike Zimmer talked about that yesterday in his press conference, what Adam was talking about. He said, hey, we're going to ease him in. I don't know if we're going to see him take any snaps running back, but he was taking snaps. He said kick returner. So with Amir Abdullah being released last week, he's going to take that spot over. So that's really exciting.
You guys dropped that bomb on me just when I was saying that he should be on notice.
He got picked up by Carolina, didn't he?
He did. Isn't that weird?
And he had a terrible day returning kicks.
Oh.
Team touchback.
Is this a rare instance of Minnesota dropping a player at the right time?
I'm not sure, but the trend of players moving on from Minnesota and just not contributing is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Especially when they were in Minnesota doing things.
Yeah, they might not have been doing like astronomical superstar things, but they had jobs and they did them all right.
Remember when
they were
Sante Shanko? Remember when Shanko went to the Patriots and he absolutely shit the bed and on like one game, and then they cut him like immediately the next day.
He was gone right away.
There's a name I haven't heard in 8 years.
Wow. How about Cordero Patterson though? Quietly carving himself out a good season.
Hey, that's Super Bowl champion Cordero Patterson.
Moving him to running back was a smart move. I didn't like using him in gadget plays, but once you move him his position on over, split your running back out, but make him a running back. He's trying to teach him too much of the playbook and involve him in those trick plays. It was just too much.
You know what's wild too? You can still use him as a wide receiver for screens and stuff. This is so smart. The dude is built like Derrick Henry too. Like he's not as muscular and as thick, but he's a tall guy. Like he was a really big body wide receiver. I think this makes a lot of sense. I just hate that he's on the Falcons because the Falcons are trash. They're so bad.
I don't understand what. Well, the Falcons are they're on a 2-game winning streak now, right?
Yeah, they're 3-3 as well, I believe.
Yeah, Matty Ice. Adam's a fan.
Ugh.
Comeback player of the year.
I still say they should have drafted a quarterback, but I mean you can't really argue with having a wide receiving tight end.
Oh, I wanted that kid so bad. He's going to be great.
I still have yet to see him doing some blocking, but he sure can catch passes. He's no Chris Herndon, I'll tell you that.
Oh man, here we go.
You got to see his first touchdown in purple and gold. I mean, doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, I mean, he did catch a ball that day. That happened.
And he ran to the end zone with it. All that boy does is catch touchdowns. Football comes his way, touchdown.
That's not true. I'm still salty about the week.
Every NFL catch he's made as a Viking has been for a touchdown.
Would
right,
you
we'll-
rather have Tom
we'll revisit
Brady's
this.
600th touchdown ball or Chris Herndon's first touchdown ball as a Minnesota Viking?
I want Chris Herndon's first touchdown ball so I can hand it back to him and be like, "Oh, you're not the guy I thought." My bad.
Oh, that's cold.
I'm kidding. I was there, Chris Herndon, and if you do hear this, I am happy for you, sir. I was very mad at you from the week before, but I'm not gonna lie. I had to say who? I had to look at your number and be like, "Oh, that's the guy we traded for. Good for him." I made a lot of Panthers fans mad when I said
I'm
that.
happy for him. Hey, I'm happy for him. Maybe he's going to turn it around now. Right?
Oh, certainly, he's in a better position than he was on the previous team he was on.
Exactly.
That is true.
They are not good.
Is true. And isn't there a rookie quarterback? Isn't he injured now? And aren't they starting some other guy I've barely heard of?
That's why they got Joe Flacco.
You think they're going to start him right away?
Don't call it a
They
comeback.
have
I guess why not?
Because the guy underneath him is fucking terrible.
Color me surprised. The backup quarterback on the Jets is not good.
Yeah.
Breaking news. No, that's funny.
I'm hearing.
Yeah, you didn't know you were going to get your New York Jets coverage here today. Welcome to the Purple People podcast.
Yeah.
Well, the Vikings and Jets have a lot of connections. You know, they might have had Kirk Cousins if Kirk Cousins didn't say no, thank you, to more money
Anthony,
for the Jets in
Barr.
Minnesota.
Anthony Barr left him at the podium. That's my favorite.
Isn't that funny? It's like when you just send a text message and you're not looking, and you look down, and you're like, whoa, 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 no. That was basically Anthony Barr's career as a Jet. He's like,
What's funny is even if you imagine it, like Kirk Cousins' agent coming to Kirk Cousins saying, "We got a deal on the table for more money," and Kirk's probably like, "All right, where are we talking about here?" It's like the New York Jets. Kirk, no thanks.
He's not a New York person, anyways. He's not a New Jersey guy.
He could be the next Mark Sanchez. Sanchez was as New York, New Jersey as they get.
Don't put the butt fumble on Captain Kirk. All right, leave the butt fumble out of this. He was
on The Masked Singer, and now he does analyst. He's an analyst on television.
I like him as an analyst. I couldn't see Kirk as a New York guy. He's every bit of Minnesotan if there is one.
Driving his van up to the stadium. I mean, he's got this.
He is a good fit.
He can even carpool with some of those guys. Save money on the tolls.
Oh, Kirk. Captain Frick. Gotta love him.
Oh, golly. I bet that's when Kirk loses in Monopoly. Oh, golly.
I don't know how people play Monopoly. I can't do it.
Monopoly.
I'm the only weirdo here that likes it. I'm sorry. I'm a big fan of that game.
You used to be cool.
It's way too long, and it's just way too annoying.
It's a throwback thing. We played it when I was younger, so it makes me think of my youth.
Give me some 500 rummy or something like that. I'm good to go.
Rummy's a good one. What we got here in the comments? Catan is way better. All right.
Oh, I never learned that. That looks too complicated for me.
I'm glad that somebody else is chiming in. I see y'all watching. Give us a take, man.
What is that game from Parks and Rec? Cones of Dunshire or something like that?
Oh, Lord. I'm drawing a blank.
It's your favorite show.
One of my favorite shows. You're right. I'm drawing a blank here. It's simple once you're in it. That's what she said.
Oh, no.
Pow. So we talked about the trade deadline. Don't know if Cones of Dunshire. Nice. Talked about the trade deadline. Vikings probably not going for anything. I expect them to hang on to this money, roll it into next year, try to sign one of these guys like Adam was saying. I'm not going to take that take as my own. Sounds like a good plan to at least get one of those guys and salvage. And you made a good
do you
point
think the Vikings will ship anyone else out or bring someone else in?
Who is fringe on this team that doesn't really do anything that we could do away with? Because I think they're pretty set. I think
the only other guy I could really think of logically, I had Bashad Breeland in there because he seemed disgruntled for a little bit.
Right.
But now that he's going to be probably the team's number one corner and he's playing well and he seems happier, I mean, that's not going to happen. Now, the third guy I had on my list, if you read it over on the Viking Age, was Rashad Hill.
Ooh.
Teams are always looking for that blocker, and he can play right tackle, he can play left tackle, and he's got that starting experience. He played fairly well, even though at times he could be frustrating. And honestly, I could see teams asking about his services because there have been quite a few left tackles and right tackles going down this year. And Minnesota didn't pay a ton from him, so if they could get a mid-round pick for him, they might consider it. But that all said, I think the idea of trading away your backup tackle is a terrible idea.
They love him too much, but you're right with the injuries. They might get a phone call or two, but I think they like him too much. I mean, he was going to be your starter this year if Darisaw had a setback. So, yeah, that's a good emergency plan.
Just in case Christian has any lingering issues, I don't think you want to trade away your security net right now.
I think it'd be a bad idea, but I'm betting they are going to get a few calls. And of course, they'll always get inquiries about a lot of the players. There'll be teams calling about Danielle Hunter and throwing numbers around, and Minnesota will just be like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of teams out there shopping for quarterbacks right now, too. So the problem is that if Minnesota was in a situation where right now they were, 1-5, they might be in a position where they were looking to trade some of their bigger assets to try to start rebuilding during the draft over the next few years. But since they're 3-3, you're not going to see that kind of movement because they're close enough to the playoffs that they don't really want to start a fire sale and moving everything around. But they're also bad enough where they don't think that they're really contenders quite yet, and they're not going to go out and trade everything they got for one more big piece. So I think that we're not going to see anything else happen from Minnesota up to the trade deadline.
That's very well said. Very well said. It's a nail on the head. They're not going to do it.
You know what would be fun? The NFL just shouldn't have a trade deadline.
Oh God,
that would
be so rough.
That would be so. No, just think about it. Like some team where you're clear knocked out of your playoffs, but you got a veteran player, and some other team is heading into the playoffs.
So it's a Super Bowl.
Yes.
The Packers are taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. So the Vikings trade the Kansas City Chiefs Justin Jefferson for a game. And
not even for a
Danielle
game.
Hunter.
Not even for the game. Think about the draft, right? You see how crazy it gets like a month before the draft. You hear about these blockbuster trades. Imagine it'd be like guys. It'd be like the front office is doing cocaine and heroin and everything. They'd be like, "Give me this person here. Have all of my money," and they would just make a big push for
some team.
Oh, that would be,
dude.
So it's chaos. Fun. It's chaos. So cool. I want it now.
But you've seen too how many stations like ESPN, NFL Network, they all do those big trades are opening where I have a big old special on TV that's going to last several hours. And instead, everybody's just kind of on Twitter watching all the trades happen, or it's all deals that have already been confirmed ahead of time and we all already know. Yeah. The age of watching that stuff on television, I mean, at that point, the stuff on TV is just background noise because you're getting all your information so much further ahead of time on social media.
Well, that's the other thing, too. The trade deadline's in, a week or two? Something like that.
Yeah.
If
they push it back a little further, I think that'd be a little cooler. Maybe you don't have to push it to the end of the regular season, but I don't know, by week 12. All right, figure your roster out. The season's almost over. That'd be cool. We're all just trying to change everything here. There's really no rhyme or reason for that. But that chaos that.
My favorite is Kyle West trying to change the roster inactives and roster player numbers.
I will continue that. I will continue that one. There's no reason to not have every player active on game day.
Kathy likes the kicker. I like our kicker too, man. I think that he got a bad rap. I think Cincinnati's a really tough place to kick. And what was the Arizona one hurts, but
he's taken some lumps. He is. But in the past, those lumps would have led to the Vikings coaching staff and the brass giving the kicker the boot. And now they're getting a little bit more support. They're
being lenient now, and they should have been. They're learning from their past mistakes.
Could you imagine if the Vikings had been lenient with Daniel Carlson?
Let's not talk about it.
I was just going to say, at some point, you have to pick a kicker and stick with them for the long haul here and be like, hey, we have to see whether or not going to pull out of this, or what is your larger body of work? And we know here's the thing though, we're fans. We're allowed to be angry after that game against the Green Bay Packers and say, you know what, trade this guy, get him out of here. He's a bust.
And I was absolutely frustrated.
Yeah, they're supposed to be the professional scouts and coaches and GMs that run this team. They're not supposed to react the same way that we do. It's called they call it Overreaction Monday for a reason. It's like we're allowed to overreact.
But can we all just for a moment appreciate that the Vikings went out and they got themselves a new punter, and that kid can boot a football.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very good at his job.
Yep.
I didn't like changing things up because I liked the consistency on holding, and I thought he was an okay punter, decent enough. Mm-hmm. But they went on, they got a guy that can just absolutely boom that football and can move the field position battle. It's just been crazy to see the field flipped so many times.
It's been for the brand.
And
shout out to the special.
Because let's be honest, the Vikings have punted way too many times this year.
Yeah,
we don't have to listen to Paul Allen.
God, I can't.
You know what I'm going to say? Do I have to say it?
You're going to say the field goal's good. Wait, no, it's not.
Well, also to piggyback on Kathy's point too, for the woes that our kickers had, Greg Joseph, he also has won a game or two. So
yeah,
you hate him for the losses, but you kind of have to appreciate the fact that we're sitting where we are partially because of him. So I'm not going to say what you wanted to say, Kyle. You can say it.
And 3-3 at this point really isn't too bad. It could be a heck of a lot worse.
Yeah.
But the schedule coming up does look pretty vicious. And I think that, I believe they asked Brian O'Neill how he felt about the tough schedule coming up. And he said, I couldn't name our next opponent past Dallas. That's all I'm thinking about. And that is how the NFL works. Fans might take a look at a schedule and be like, these are some tough games coming up. But players, coaches, they're just looking at that next game.
Yep. Well, the good thing is we've seen these teams get beat, and none of these teams are undefeated. We've already played the team that's undefeated, so there is a formula to winning.
And pushed them to the limits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've definitely seen next week is the Ravens. We've seen them get buzz, and they're kind of injury riddled, so who knows? Seen the Chargers get
but I'm terrified
absolutely bolted by the Ravens. So there's weird stuff. There's always a game every year we have no business winning. Kind of like last year, I had no business going in Green Bay and rushing 4 touchdowns there and winning, but we did. So
yeah,
who knows? Maybe it can start. Maybe this is just like 2019. You go into the bye week even at 500 and they go on a tear. That would be awesome.
Now, have you guys heard anything in the updates on Dak Prescott? I've heard that he was walking without his boot and that they're hopeful he'll be able to play. But there's always that little sneaking suspicion that even if they do play Dak and he is good enough to play, if your quarterback isn't 100% and isn't moving around as well as he probably could, Danielle Hunter's going to be licking his chops. Everson Griffin's going to be excited. That Vikings defense, if they sense a wounded Dak, they are going to attack.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how they plan to rush them. Like we were saying before, are they going to keep 4 and pressure and then do a lot of coverage? This is what I would like to see. I don't think Ezekiel Elliott is the threat that he was before. He's still a great running back, but I don't know. He's kind of lingered out to the end of top 10 rather than top 5 for me personally. But Dak, man,
with how bad the Vikings have been against the run lately, I do fear that Zeke will have a couple big games or a big game coming up. We saw what happened even in that game that Zeke was on the sideline. Who was it? Pollard that broke that big run last time these two teams played?
Yep. That's a name I haven't thought about since last year, too. Thanks for that. Forgot about that. That's a tough pill to swallow last year. Got beat by Matt
Andy
Ryan
Dalton
and
just
Andy
slaying
Dalton
the Vikings.
What's up, Lee? Nice to talk to you again. Even coming back with injury, guys. We'll test you to see. I don't know what you have to explain that one. I'm reading that weird.
Oh yeah, it will be a test for a lot of those players. Coming back from an injury is never easy, especially when you're trying to test yourself and see what you can do coming back from some of the major injuries that can come around the NFL. And Darisaw with his groin and his core injury, that's something that he's going to be kind of careful of. But he does have a pretty good supporting cast. Brian O'Neill on the other side has been able to relieve a lot of pressure. Kirk Cousins has been very optimistic about the blocking there. Dalvin Cook, of course, has been injured too, missed a couple games. The Vikings may want to try to sprinkle in a little bit more other running backs during the games to try to keep him a little bit fresher. But this is a very competitive team, and it's going to be tough to keep him off the field. So we'll see how they handle that situation.
Yeah, we'll see. I think we'll see how the health of Dalvin Cook is, having a week off to rest those ankles. He looked pretty damn good in Carolina, 140 yards or whatever it was. And
it's going to be a little while without Patrick Peterson, so that's going to look kind of rough.
Michael Pierce is the biggest one I think we're all looking for. I want to see if he makes it back. Missed the Carolina game.
Came back from his injury and played every defensive snap in his game back, and he was exhausted and just winded. The conditioning wasn't quite there yet. Maybe he just still needs to adjust and get back to that NFL level, because it had been a long time before he'd been on the field again.
Yeah, it's been a while. That's crazy to think about. Tore his pec last year earlier in the season.
So, yeah, this Vikings team does have quite a bit to overcome. There are a lot of players that are dealing with some stuff. Of course, when you're playing in the NFL, the players that are on the injury report aren't always the only ones that are banged up or hurting. You got some of those guys that are doing their best to not show pain when they're running or hurt their hand or something like that, just because they know they'll miss some playing time.
Did Brett Favre ever get put on the injury report? He was always banged up.
Not until he was out after getting slammed on Soldier Field, I believe.
Yeah.
That was the Minnesota, right after it was on TCF, I think, whatever the college is there. Bombed to Percy Harvin and then just out cold on the field.
Lee is absolutely right. A player coming back from an injury, you will be tested. You will absolutely be tested, especially at the bigger skill positions where it's like you're going to be focused on big time. The battle in the trenches, those are tough. But when you are a cornerback, a wide receiver, tight end, a quarterback, a linebacker, pass rusher, those players will be tested very toughly to see if they are 100%. And if they can be beaten and if they show any sign of weakness, there's going to be blood in that water and the Sharks are going to attack.
It's a good point, Lee. Was it Adam saying as well? It would be foolish not to test them if they're coming back. Why not? Let's see if we can catch them slipping, That's a good point. Thanks for
Because Dak is more mobile than a lot of people give him credit for. He can pick up some yards with his feet if he has to. He can make big throws if he has to. But if you slam him down on his shoulder enough, there's a chance that he won't feel as confident with that. The soreness will come back. The swelling will come back. And those kind of situations can lead to big mistakes.
Seeing what he came and battled through, I didn't hate the guy at all. It's fun to hate on the Cowboys because their fans are absolutely the fucking most obnoxious people in the world. But they
worse than Philly fans, huh?
Oh yeah, I'll take Philly fans all day. At least they don't have to. At least they don't have to tell you about the 5 championships and blah blah. Like, oh god, just shut up, man. It's so annoying. Dak though, persevering. I gotta say, like, we always knew it was tough. I always liked this character and his story with his family. He's a very family-oriented guy, especially his mom and his brothers. But after seeing him come back from that gruesome foot injury from last year, dude's like, he's got all the respect in the world from me and a million other people. He's a damn good football player, and I think Dallas better not take him for granted. I'm seeing it this year when they're coming through. I'm like, man, if they get that together and that offense figures it out.
Now, I believe Dallas will be without Michael Gallup, right?
I'm not sure. I haven't seen any injury reports yet.
So if he's out, that still does leave them a pretty strong receiver core. They do have some really good pass catchers. They do have a high-profile running back. I won't say he's an elite running back. Probably would have said that a couple years ago, but I don't think I'll say that now. He is very, very good at times, but he's going to face a challenge with those big guys in the middle. And the Vikings defense is going to come down to holding them to a low enough score so this offense can get some points. And, of course, Dallas, the big story right now, is Diggs. Trayvon Diggs, that cornerback. I believe he's leading the NFL in interceptions right now. because he
Playing
does
good.
gamble a lot on a football, but he also gives up the most big plays in the NFL. So when you have a quarterback as accurate as Kirk Cousins, I believe he can test Diggs and really get a lot of production out of going after the player that has the number one interceptions in the league. It sounds risky, but it's been a strategy that a lot of teams take against Dallas, and so far it hasn't paid off a lot because I don't think they have a quarterback that has the accuracy of Kirk Cousins.
Do you think they're going to put Diggs on Jefferson or Thielen?
Jefferson, absolutely.
Jefferson?
100%. And that leaves, I love that matchup because it leaves Adam Thielen ready to eat. And KJ Osborne can put a move or two on these linebackers. It's going to be interesting watching both of these offenses and how they attack these defenses because the skill players in this game are absurd. They're so good on both teams. So
it should be a fun game. You know that?
And hey, I'll give it to Stephon Diggs' brother, Trevon Diggs, having a season, but just like in that New England game, you have this crazy pick. It's number 7 on the year. And then a play later, you give up a bomb for a touchdown. He's known for that. So, hey, you can have a pass breakup. You can have a pick, but he's going to give up a big play. And I would put money on that right now. It's just his MO for this year because he's been that spotty. But though you can't overlook, that's a good point, Adam. You can't overlook that kind of season this dude's having because if he was to stay anywhere near on this pace, he's going to have a double-digit interceptions, and that's absurd. That's a lot.
That is true. And it would be nice to see the Vikings be able to force some turnovers. That has been the recipes for success. Mr. Smith got to see quite a few turnovers when the Vikings visited the Panthers. And that is definitely the way to get ahead and make it a victory when you're on the road. Now at home, I hate to say it, but the Vikings fans need to be rowdy and loud again. Mm-hmm. This is going to be a very, very challenging game, and any advantage they can get has to be used.
Very excited for this game.
Half price Bud Light Day at US Bank Stadium. That would help.
Bring your cards because it is cashless now. Just a reminder.
Is it?
It is.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's all I have for this week. I guess I can touch a little bit on the Survival League where something kind of interesting happened. We had one elimination in week 7.
Oh.
And it's a former winner.
Ooh.
Oh.
Craig Morley has been eliminated. 2-time Purple People Podcast Survival League winner has bitten the dust, and now we are left with 21 active players. So if you are still one of the 21 that are still involved in playing, get your picks in because there's no worse way to lose than not getting a pick in like Craig Morley didn't.
I was going to say, what put him out? And that was it, huh? Man.
It's that easy. You miss a pick and you're gone. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people that are one strike away from being eliminated. So this is going to start getting down to the wire here pretty soon.
Oh, yeah. My time's coming. I can feel it.
There are 6 people that still don't have a strike. I still have 1, but my pick I feel very good about. So
he's picking Jacksonville, everyone.
I will say this. It may not be my Survival League pick, but I'm picking Jacksonville to win this week.
Who are they playing?
I don't remember, but I know I picked them in my Pick'em League.
I like it.
It may be Seattle, I think.
Trevor Lawrence is eventually going to be a good NFL quarterback. So,
there's nothing wrong with him. His coach is terrible.
It's coaching.
That team is god awful.
The complete lack of preparation that set him up for failure. But Trevor Lawrence eventually is going to will this team to a couple wins this season, I think.
If he goes to his potential, I see every bit of Andrew Luck in this kid, and I love that. I love that kid to death.
You just got to get him a coach.
Yeah, got to get him some pieces, and that's a winnable division. I mean, very winnable division. But I want to go on a rant before we get off of here because I keep seeing this online, and I'm here to poo-poo on a lot of people's dreams. Stop saying Kellen Mond should be starting. Stop saying Kellen Mond is the best rookie quarterback in the class. I'm looking at you, Vikes Verified on IG. I'm calling you out. I don't know how old you are, but it's not enough to realize what you're saying is stupid. Don't do that. You're better than that. We've had good conversations, all right?
I don't know. I'm really liking Mac Jones.
He's so good. He fits that team so well.
When he came out of the draft, people said he compares very closely to Kirk Cousins. And I watch him play. I see it.
Also, Bill Belichick helps.
Yeah.
Knows how to
Bill
win
Belichick with Kirk Cousins in his system. That would be nice.
What's their offensive coordinator's name? He went to Indy for like a day and turned around and was like, I don't want that job.
I'm not sure.
I forget. He was coach of the Broncos with
he drafted Tim Tebow.
Yeah, he drafted Tebow. I can't remember his name. Him as an offensive coordinator. Oh my God. He can figure it out, man.
Hey, it's Truth.
What's up, Truth?
Welcome in, Truth.
Sorry,
Truth is a streamer here on Twitch. Plays a lot of community games and is an awesome dude. So if you're listening and you're on Twitch, go check out Truth TF. Good guy.
I'll give you a follow here after we're done, Truth. Thanks for commenting. We appreciate it. But yeah, I have to go back to that, man. I keep seeing all this Kellen Mond hype, and look, I'm not rooting for the kid to fail. I'm not doing that at all. You have to understand what it is. This kid's not better than Sean Mannion. They're not even activating him. They would rather pick an NFL veteran who's never thrown a pass than to activate this kid. Do you understand what that says? You don't. If you're saying what you're saying, you have no idea what you're talking about. Please stop saying that. Give the kid a chance. He needs a red shirt year. He might need 2. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if Kirk keeps playing the way he is, go ahead and lock it in, boys. He's going to get another extension.
Absolutely.
Keep playing. So
he could play like ass, and Kirk could play like ass, and he's still going to get an extension.
It would take a lot of really bad games for them to bench Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
We're just glad you're here.
Absolutely.
We love so we have Facebook and YouTube comments, but we have rarely anything from Twitch that's not a bot, so it's nice to see a real human on here.
That's true. You're not asking us to buy followers, and we appreciate that.
Thanks, Drew.
Well, let's get into the ending stages here. I do want to thank everyone for listening. If you want to check out some more of my work, go over to thevikingage.com. I write some pretty good articles over there. I already tooted my horn a little bit already about my
you did
Vikings players who might be traded article, and of course, gonna have some more coming up. My next article might be the reasons the Vikings will beat the Cowboys. I like those pieces because it gets to dive in kind of deep on the statistics and have a lot of fun with them. Over on Undead Walking, I just wrote a pretty cool article about The Walking Dead this weekend. It's going to be featured on The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs, which I've used to love watching Joe Bob Briggs growing up and that Monster Vision stuff. That was so much fun.
That's very
You can also catch me on Twitch. Every once in a while, I try to play some games over there, but otherwise, we do these Purple People podcast episodes every week, along with horror movie reviews that hopefully we'll have another one in soon. And I love doing those too as well. The last one was Halloween Kills, and we were a little vicious with that one. So hopefully next we'll pick one that we can have a little bit more of a glowing review about.
Yep, I like to say it. I'm a part of that too. If you'll check out Adam's Twitch, I can do the horror movie reviews with him there, and we're having a lot of fun there. Maybe if he's not busy Friday, we can throw something in. I'm really excited about the next one we're going to pick. I'm not too sure which one yet. I looked at those previews today, but
Are you going to pick that Megan Fox movie?
She's super hot, man, but I'm not into the plot. Like that trailer doesn't scream anything exciting.
Jennifer's Body? That one?
No, it's some new movie she's in.
Yes, I think her husband dies and she's got to deal with the body or something. Is that one?
Yeah, there's somebody at the door. He goes, is he in there? She's like, most of him. And I'm like, that doesn't tell me anything of what this movie's about. This could be Ghostbusters. This could be Ghostbusters 12 for all I know, and they're not telling me about it.
It'll be Dune 2.
Don't get Wes started.
I don't think there could be more polarizing opinions on that new Dune movie than what me and Kyle West have.
The movie is incredible.
It's incredibly bad.
Ebert and Roper, we got thumbs up and thumbs down here. Hey,
but then again, I'm not a sci-fi guy, so I know that you like your sci-fi stuff. So
yeah, I love science fiction, so
it's much more better for you than it is for me, because that outer space sci-fi stuff. Honestly, I just felt like I was watching another Star Wars movie.
That's all right. Adam doesn't like the demonic stuff and the possession stuff in horror, and I just smited him when I heard that. I was like, get away from me. It hurt my heart when he said that. It hurt a lot.
Okay, Adam, hold on. Is Evil Dead a possession movie then?
Kind
Oh,
of.
I gotcha. Oh, I gotcha.
Is that a technical? That's a technicality there.
It's totally possession.
I'll give it that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you do like at least one possession franchise.
Oh, I always hope that a movie can prove me wrong. That's what I was hoping I'd do with Dune. That I'd check it out and be like, okay, this space sci-fi stuff, maybe it's not so bad. But after I started watching the movie and then I woke up and I watched the second half, I was like, all right. You got to check out Mr. West Photography over on Twitter. I retweeted one of his photographs that is absolutely blown up. So tell everybody about that.
Yeah, check out my work. You got my Twitter account down there on the bottom of the screen, so check that out. I got a photo that's doing like I can't even look at my phone right now because every time I do, it's like ding, 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 ding with notifications on it. So that's really cool. I've never had that happen before.
Can I give my little plug for
course.
this? If you're in the mood for Halloween and that time of year and fall in general, and I'm talking about Halloween the season and Halloween the movie, you'll like this photograph. And what Mr. West was telling us before we started here was this is just a random photo he did that he takes on his way to work every day. And it's those simple things and those little moments that you capture. And the same shit happens with music, right? It's just like, let's just do this. And it just works. This photo just works. And I guarantee you, if you enter it in another contest, it will get a lot of love. So I'm very happy for you.
I was walking to the place where I was going to take photos. I haven't even got those uploaded yet because I haven't finished editing them yet. This was my along the way shot. Like, this is kind of cool. Let me snap
this was your test shot, and it's killing right now, which is great.
So
for that photo, you get both Siskel and Ebert thumbs up. So there you go.
Awesome. And it is up for sale on my photo website. I just got that done too.
It's up on the Redbubble?
It's up on the Redbubble. So if you guys want to buy a copy or
get a nice print of it, a mug or something like that. Mm-hmm. They got all those products over there on Redbubble. You get designs on anything you want.
Yeah. They added some new stuff too, like mouse pads and cell phone cases and all kinds of cool stuff. So
now I have noticed that Mr. Smith has been going live a little bit with some of his music. And honestly, if you enjoy live music and a blend of some pretty cool kind of country and rock and stuff like that, he might be worth checking out for you. I recommend it.
I don't have my stuff up, and it's saving the things that I'm updating. Oh, here we go.
Hey, little Dorkage. Well, thanks for the lurk. Appreciate it greatly.
Everyone should request that Kyle Smith plays Enter Sandman every single time he goes live.
You play the intro there.
I want to play Sixpence None the Rectors. Kiss Me.
This is my social media, everyone. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all that fun stuff. If you want to...
Oh, I forgot about TikTok. I am on TikTok now.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, I had to turn the notifications off because I'll waste 3 hours every day on that app. It's so good.
It's so good.
I was fighting it forever, and now I'm on, and I save some of them just so I can watch them later. Like, I actually save the videos to my phone. It's so good.
I still can't make a good TikTok, but I sure like watching a good TikTok.
Hey, you know what? I made one good one with my music, and I did the editing with like the weird effects, and I'm good. I have one, and that's it. That's all I needed.
That's all you need.
I don't understand the TikTok.
Well, we're over an hour on our bye-week episode, so this probably is a good time for us to shut things down. I'm surprised we talked for this long about a game that didn't happen. But I do want to thank everyone for stopping in and commenting, because you guys are the ones that keep this show going by asking questions, making comments, and joining the conversation. It's always a lot of fun. We'll be back next week. We're going to talk about the outcome of this game against the Dallas Cowboys. And it should be a fun one, or maybe a heartbreaker. I don't know. Maybe I'll be crying. Maybe I'll be smiling.
Wait for it. Are you ready? Are you ready? I, too, am ready to be hurt again.
We are. And again, you can check us out wherever you get your podcasts, because we are there. If you can like, share, subscribe, comment, rate, whatever you want to do to wherever you check out your podcasts, that's great. The full catalog of Purple People podcasts are available over on our YouTube channel, which is also a lot of fun. So thanks again to everyone who joined, and stay classy, Minnesota.